before this, when Lord Rama was present, he had a younger brother named Lakshmana. And Lakshmana, as the younger brother of Rama, found himself sometimes in an awkward situation. As the younger brother, he always had to submit to the will of the older brother. And sometimes he didn't like this. Not because he didn't like to serve his older brother, but sometimes because this actually became an obstacle to his service. Before Lord Rama got married, who did he marry? Sita. Lakshman had exclusive access, exclusive rights to serve Rama. Rama basically belonged to Lakshman as far as all services went. Then along came Sita and said, now he's mine. I get to serve Rama. And Lakshman said, I've been serving him for a long time now. I'm in charge. I'll decide who's doing the service, and I will do all the service. So there was some disagreement. And they brought this court case in before, I believe, Vasishta Muni, the sage Vasishta. And Vasishta made his court decision. Said, okay, Lakshman, you can take charge of all services related to Rama, which have to do with external situations, the public situations. And Sita, she can take charge of all the internal, all the personal, all the private situations. Sounds fair enough, right? Lakshman didn't like that. But what could he do? He was the younger brother. He had to submit. So he said to himself, he said, next time I'm going to be the older brother. That's not all. When Sita and Ram were in the forest and Maricha came as disguised as a deer, and Sita told Rama, go catch that deer. Lakshmana was ordered to stay behind and protect Sita, which he did faithfully, until the call of what seemed like the voice of Rama came out of the forest. Help, help. Lakshman knew this is not Rama. Rama does not need anybody's help. He is Rama. He knew this was an impersonation of Rama's voice by Maricha. But Sita didn't know that. Sita was convinced Rama is in danger. Lakshman, go and help Rama. Lakshman said, no, he is not in trouble. I'm staying where I am. I have to protect you. Then Sita became angry and accused Lakshman of something very terrible, that Lakshmana must have designs on Sita. And when Lakshman heard this, he was so crushed in his heart, because such thought never even slightly entered his mind or heart. But he understood, okay, I have to leave protecting Sita. So he did, and we all know what happened. Sita was abducted, and this caused all the trouble. And this was all because Lakshman was the younger brother. So Lakshman said, next time, I'm going to be the older brother. A third occasion, Rama has killed Ravana. Sita has returned to Rama's side, but Rama is acting very, very cold. Instead of welcoming her back, he's saying, "How can I take you back? You've been with another man, with Ravana. How can I trust you? You can go find another husband." Sita was crushed. Eventually it was decided, okay, let her be tested by Agni, the fire and fire god. And so it was Lakshmana's duty as the younger brother to build this fire. He was so frustrated. How can we dare to do this to Mother Sita? It is complete madness. But he couldn't say anything. He was the younger brother. Next time I'm going to be the older brother. That is Balaram. So Balaram is the older brother of Krishna. And in this mood of being Krishna's older brother, he's very protective of Krishna. He's always anxious to protect Krishna, even when there's no need. If some clouds gather coming over Govardhan Hill, Balaram is sometimes thinking, these are demons, they're coming to attack Krishna. So he's like this. Namaste to Halagrama. Namaste Mushala Yudha.
Namaste Mushala Yudha.
Namaste Revati Kanta.
Namaste Revati Kanta.
Namaste Bhaktavatsala.
Namaste Bhaktavatsala.
Namaste Bhalinam Shrishta.
Namaste Bhalinam Shrishta.
Namaste Dharanidara.
Namaste Dharanidara.
Pralambare Namastestu.
Pralambare Namastestu.
Ehi Mam Krishna Purvaja.
Ehi Mam Krishna Purvaja.
That's a prayer to Balaram, addressing him by different names, such as Halagrama. Halagrama is the weapon which he holds. Balaram holds a plow because he is a farmer. Balaram is the original farmer. Krishna is the original cowherd boy, and Balaram is the original farmer. Mushala Yudha, one who fights with a mushala. Mushala is a kind of club, but it's also, we are told, a kind of, you know what is a pestle? Mortar and pestle. When you're grinding something, grinding some spices, you have a mortar and pestle, right? So the mushala is a kind of pestle, but it's used in a pounding way, like this, boom, boom, boom. And it's used to separate grains. So you have rice, raw rice, and then you want, or wheat, and you want to separate what's called the chaff in English. And so that you do with the mushala. Now the chaff is compared to anartha. And what is anartha? Anartha is that which is without artha, without value. No value. And anartha is something we as conditioned souls, tend to carry around with us unnecessarily. All the anarthas, all of those tendencies, habits which keep us separate from Krishna and Krishna Bhakti, those are anarthas. So, Balaram, with his mushala, boom, 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 he pounds away the anarthas. Very nice. Haribo. Namaste Revati Kanta. Kanta means deer, and Revati is the consort of Balaram. Revati was married to Balaram after she had visited Lord Brahma with her father and had come back after a few moments, after getting blessings of Lord Brahma to get married, into a later age, Yuga, in which everyone, including Balaram, were much smaller. And so when Balaram was informed, here is your consort, what's the word? Here's your bride, yes. Here's your bride. He was looking up. She's my bride. So this is where he found one particular use of his plow, a sort of an unusual use. He hooked the plow over Revati's shoulder, and then he pulled her down and made her just the right size. So he could say, very nice bride. And they lived happily ever after. This is not something anyone can imitate. Namaste Bhaktavatsala. Bhaktavatsala, the word Vatsala comes from Vatsa, which means calf, as in baby cow. The Lord considers his devotees to be like calves, like the mother cow considering the calf. So, in other words, with great affection. So here, Balaram is known for his affection that he holds for the devotees. And this suggests Vatsalya Rasa, the mood, the parental mood. Balaram has a kind of mixed mood in relation to Krishna, namely, because he's older, a kind of parental mood and mood of friendship. We may come back to that later. Let's see. Namaste Balinam Sreshta, the best of those who have strength. He's known as Bala Rama. So Bala means strength. He's also known as Baladeva, Balabhadra. So Bala means strength. Okay, I have a question for you now. Who is stronger? Krishna or Balaram? Who says it's Balaram? Wow, not so many. Who says it's Krishna? Oh, vast majority. Well, majority wins, right? Yes, you're right. Krishna is stronger. Why is he stronger? Balaram leans on Krishna, so he needs Krishna's support. If you see Krishna and Balaram here, Balaram is leaning on Krishna. But that leaning, of course, is a leaning of affection. He doesn't really have to lean on Krishna, right? But they're good friends. And one way of expressing friendship is to sort of hang out like that. But he's also known as Dharani Dhara. Dhara means one who holds or sustains, and Dharani means the earth. So we don't usually think of the earth being held up by a person. We're told that the earth is held up by, by it's floating. It's floating in space. And how is that all working? Well, there's this law of gravity and so on and so forth. Well, yes, on some level that understanding may be true, but on a deeper level, we understand that everything needs to be held, needs to be sustained, and for that, Lord Balaram in particular is credited. He is given credit for that holding up. If we think about strength, or power, it's really kind of an interesting subject. I won't go into it too much, but everyone's looking for power. The companies that make the most money are the power companies, the ones who supply, oil and gas and all of that, because everyone's looking for energy, for power. And then on the political and military level, everyone is looking for that kind of power as well. And pretty much this is material life. Everyone is preoccupied with gaining and sustaining power. And because they're not recognizing that there is a person behind whatever power is there, they may get some power for some time, and then, after some time, whoop, it's gone. Oh, and then there is lamentation. So, our recommendation is, remember, behind the power, whatever power we have, there is the supreme powerful Lord, and particularly in his form as Balarama is. And our special interest as devotees of Krishna is to have to receive from the Lord a special kind of power, and that is spiritual power, and that is given by Balarama. By no amount of material power can we make even 1 micromillimeter progress in spiritual life. No. We need spiritual power, and spiritual power is quite different from material power. It is the power of surrender, the power of letting go. Instead of trying to hold on to something, it is the power of letting go. Horibol. And that's what Balarama teaches. Ekale Ishvara Krishna Arashava Bhritya Jare Jache Nachai Setaiche Kare Nritya. Ekale Ishvara Krishna. There is one Ishvara, and his name is Krishna. Jare Jache Nachai, and how he dances, Sekare Nritya, everyone else follows. So our position, and the position of also all the different forms of the Lord, including Balaram, is to follow in Krishna's footsteps, to serve Krishna. It is said also in Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is the right it is the adhikar of everyone, including all the different forms of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, to serve the original Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. It is a right. We want our rights, and we don't care how. We want the revolution now. So, what's the revolution? Chant Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jiva Goswami says in his Krishna Sandarbha, as the thread in a blanket spreads both lengthwise and breadthwise, so everything we see within this cosmic manifestation is directly and indirectly existing in Lord Balaram, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is not very wonderful for him. Okay. Pralamba Are Namastestu. Pralamba Ari. Balaram is the enemy of Pralamba Asura. Who was Pralamba? He was a demon. So many demons. He was the demon that was killed by Pralamba. By Balaram. Killed Pralamba. No. Pralamba was killed by Balaram. Pralamba means cucumber. He's the cucumber demon. What's Slovenian for cucumber? Kumarica? Kumara Kumarica. Let's keep with Pralambasura for a moment. How did Balaram kill him? Boom. Yes. Now, devotees don't like violence. We don't like to hear about violence. But when we hear about Balaram killing Pralambasura, we all smile, we all laugh. Ha ha ha, he smashed him in the head. So, it's interesting. Interesting phenomena that we feel this pleasure. He fell down dead just like a snake with a smashed head, and blood poured from his mouth. So nice, huh? All the cowherd boys rushed to the spot, and they called out loudly, "Well done, well done!" Haribol, Haribol. Okay. There are many pastimes of Balaram and Krishna, of course. Essentially, Krishna is assisted by Balaram, and especially as they're out in the pasture tending the cows, Balaram is always there. But sometimes Balaram makes trouble for Krishna. One time, Balaram accused Krishna of eating dirt. Do older brothers ever accuse their younger brothers of eating dirt? Could happen, huh? Yeah. So we all know what happens. Mother Yashoda, as a good mother, she doesn't want her son eating something impure, as if anything that touches the Supreme Pure Lord could be impure. And when she hears this accusation, naturally she suspects it may be true. And if it's true, then Krishna is going to have to spit out that earth, right? And so she says, Krishna, have you eaten dirt? No, I haven't eaten dirt. What if you have eaten some dirt? Balaram says, you have eaten dirt? No, I mean, just lying. You want to get me in trouble. All right, open wide. So Krishna opens wide, and Mother Yashoda looks in, and what does she see? She sees, what does she not see? She sees everything. She sees the whole universe. She even sees herself looking into Krishna's mouth. Figure that out. Anyway, Balaram, he's a bit of a troublemaker sometimes. Other times, Krishna confuses Balaram. The famous example is when Lord Brahma decided to make some trouble, and he stole away the calves, and the cowherd boys. This was told in quite some detail some weeks ago in Serbia by His Holiness Sachinandan Swami. So usually Balaram knows what's going on. For example, when the Kaliya serpent was poisoning everything, and Krishna went to do something about that, and everyone was falling over dead, and Krishna jumped from the tree and jumped on top of Kaliya and started dancing on his head. Everyone went, "Oh no, please stop." And Balaram, he was just watching, and he was very amused because he knew there's no trouble. But this time, when Lord Brahma took everyone, the calves and the cowherd boys, Balaram, who had been staying back, I think it was his birthday, wasn't it? His birthday that day, so he didn't know what was happening that day. He got completely confused. So what is going on here? The mothers are going mad for their kids, and the cows are going mad for their calves. What is going on here? And then Krishna explained to Balaram what was going on. Balaram said, "Oh, very amazing." He was impressed. Well, I think I want to read a little bit from getting toward the end of the 10th canto, in chapter 65. So many pastimes are there in childhood, and as we know, Krishna and Balaram, at one point they leave Vrindavan and they go to Mathura. And ever since then, the residents of Vrindavan have been pining. They've been lamenting, longing for Krishna and Balaram to return, but they never seem to return, or they don't seem to return. That's debated by the Vaishnavas, by the Acharyas. But in the Bhagavatam, in Canto 10, Chapter 65, we get explicit description of Balaram returning to Vrindavan. Now this was quite some time after they had left. Sankarshanasta Krishnasya Sandeshayar Hridayangamai Santvayam Asa Bhagavan Nananunayat Kovida. The Supreme Lord Balarama, the attractor of all, being expert at various kinds of conciliation. You know what conciliation means? Conciliation means pacifying people. Consoled the gopis by relaying to them the confidential messages Lord Krishna had sent with him. These messages deeply touched the gopis' hearts. All right, so here Balaram is acting as a messenger. Balaram has many kinds of service. One of them is he's a messenger. We don't usually think of Balaram as a messenger, but he is a messenger. And he's a messenger of love. Isn't that nice? Messenger of love. Of Krishna for the gopis. He's come to reassure the gopis, don't worry, Krishna still loves you. So we can also remember Balaram as messenger, reassuring the devotees, yes, Krishna is there. There's nothing to worry about. Before Balaram had come with this message, of course, Uddhava had sent the same message, but time has passed and they're still longing for Krishna. So then Shukadev Goswami says that Balaram stayed in Vrindavan for 2 months, and the period when he stayed was in the springtime. And in the springtime in Vrindavan, it can be very beautiful. It is very beautiful, especially when Balaram is present. And it says, Rama Kshapasu Bhagavan Gopinam Ratim Avahan. He stayed there for 2 months, and during the nights he gave his cowherd girlfriends conjugal pleasure. Ooh, that sounds romantic. Now, the Acharyas, Sridhar Swami and Jiva Goswami, hasten to point out, they hurry to tell us, don't worry, these are different gopis from the gopis who danced with Krishna. Because you might wonder, same gopis dancing with Krishna and then they're dancing with Balaram? I don't know. No, they say, these are different gopis. These are gopis who were too young to dance with Krishna when Krishna was having rasa dance. So now they're older and now they can dance with Balaram, who is not so much older. Actually, Prabhupada explains, Krishna remains appearing to be 16 years old, even when he was on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, when it is said that he was some 125 years old. Imagine how we would all look at the age 125 if we were still alive. But Krishna was looking just like a 16-year-old boy. Who do we have here, 16 years old? Any 16-year-olds? They're all out playing. 15? 15, okay. So, we can imagine Krishna like your age. In the company of numerous women, Lord Balaram enjoyed in a garden by the Yamuna River. This garden was bathed in the rays of the full moon and caressed by breezes bearing the fragrance of night-blooming lotuses. Now, this is one of those picture postcards you can put into your mind and remember Balaram dancing with the gopis during the spring season. And the place where this is happening is also different from where Krishna has his rasa dance. This is a place called Ramagata. Yes. And this is called a upavana, a small forest or a garden next to the Yamuna. Yamuno pavane reme sevite striganayar vrita. So there he is enjoying these conjugal pastimes in this intimate place called Ramagata. Okay, now the trouble starts. Balaram gets drunk. Well, it's not entirely his fault. After all, the demigod Varuna has sent liquor called Varuni to appear flowing from the hollow, from the opening of one tree. And this has, the smell of this Varuni has made the whole forest smell very sweet with the aroma of this Varuni. So then the wind was carrying that aroma, and Balaram smelled. And when he smelled it, he went there to the tree, and so he and his lady friends began drinking. I was saying yesterday, there is one day of the year when it is permitted and encouraged even that Vaishnavas get intoxicated. But not with alcohol, but with Varuni, which is kind of honey drink. Is there going to be Varuni for the devotees this evening? Yeah? Kitchen says yes. But don't get too intoxicated. Don't get so intoxicated you'll do something or say something that you will regret tomorrow. As the Gandharvas sang his glories, Lord Balaram enjoyed within the brilliant circle of the young women. He appeared just like Indra's elephant, the lordly Airavata, enjoying in the company of she-elephants. At that time, kettle drums resounded in the sky. The Gandharvas joyfully rained down flowers, and the sages praised Lord Balaram's heroic deeds. So here's Balaram, he's drinking this Varuni, and he's getting more and more tipsy. And the demigods and the sages, they're all saying, Jai Balaram, oh, you're so glorious. And he's thinking, yes, I'm so glorious. And so he was wandering in the forest with his lady friends, and his eyes were rolling. And he was wearing nice flower garlands, including a Jayanti, which means a garland with 5 types of forest flowers. He had a single earring, and he was perspiring, and this was decorating his lotus face like snowflakes. Then, now is when the trouble starts. Let's see. Sa ajuhava yamunam jalakridartam ishvara Nijam vakyam anadritya matta ityu apagang balaha anagatang halagrena kupito vichakarshaha. The Lord then called for the Yamuna river so that he could play in her waters. But she disregarded his command, thinking he was drunk. This angered Balarama, and he began dragging the river with the tip of his plow. So he said, we can imagine, he's a little bit or very intoxicated. Pape tam mam avagyaya yanaya simayauta neshe tam langalagre shatada kamacharinim. O sinful one, disrespecting me, you do not come when I call you, but rather move only by your own whim. Therefore, with the tip of my plow, I shall bring you here in 100 streams. And so, Balarama, of course, is known also as Sankarshana. And Karshana is, as we explained also yesterday, dragging or pulling or drawing, and that's what you do with a plow. So he's now plowing Yamuna to himself, and in the process he's making many streams. Now, this making of many streams is actually facilitating Yamuna to flow. And in a similar way, it is said by, I believe it's Lochandas Thakur, Nityananda Prabhu is creating canals of love of God, bringing it to every door, bringing it, in other words, to every person. So Balaram appears in our age as Nityananda. Nityananda Rama Ki. So, of course, we worship Nityananda together with the Panchatattva. And so we're always worshipping Balarama as Nityananda. Nice. Well, this pastime of dragging, this may seem like I can hear the feminists almost saying, this is unfair, unfair, unfair. This is male chauvinism. Well, it's transcendental male, first of all. It's the original male, and we are all female in relation to the original male. We are all Prakriti, and the Supreme Lord is Purusha. We are of nature, and he is the Supreme Person. So it's actually fitting. So he does indeed draw Yamuna, and Yamuna kind of wakes up. She had been hesitating, but now she realizes, not a very good idea, so she offers obeisance to Balaram. She says, Rama Rama Mahabaho, Rama Rama Mahabaho, na jane tava vikramam, yasyai kangshena, vidrita, jagati, jagatapate. Rama, Rama, Almighty Armed One, I know nothing of your prowess. With a single portion of yourself, you hold up the earth, O Lord of the universe. So she is given this opportunity, and we could say she is being forced to surrender. We may, as we remember Lord Balaram, remember how he forces Yamuna to surrender. And we may pray to Balaram, my dear Lord Balaram, please force me to surrender. At this point, everyone goes silent. I don't know if I want to be forced to surrender. Well, no, it's that you are volunteering. You're asking, my dear Lord, please help me. In my heart of hearts, what do I want to do? I want to take shelter of the Lord. But I'm, a little bit distracted or very distracted, and I have so many excuses not to surrender. So will you kindly help out so that I will see that actually it's in my interest to surrender to the Lord? Please, thank you. That's, we can remember Balaram for this great act of his, and in this way take shelter of Balaram to help us to take shelter of Lord Krishna. In the end of this chapter it says, thus for Lord Balaram all the nights passed like a single night as he enjoyed in Vraja, his mind enchanted by the exquisite charm and beauty of Vraja's young ladies. Let's see, the verse before that. Yeah, so he is experiencing, that's in the purport. Thus each night was completely new experience, and all the nights passed as if they were a single night. So Krishna has experiences, and for him, he is Nava-Nava-Rasa. He experiences fresh, new, every day, and in this case, every night. This romantic experience. So he's the supreme person. So as we experience, as we enjoy, we can remember that Lord Krishna and Balaram, they're the original enjoyers. How amazing their enjoyment must be. If we could just participate in that enjoyment. Oh, so wonderful. Huh? So again, we are anticipating in a few days Krishna himself is going to appear. I wish you all a wonderful Krishna Janmashtami festival in a few days. I will be somewhere else, in Poland, but I'm sure you'll have a nice birthday party for Krishna. So, Shri Krishna Balarama ki Jai, Ananta Gopti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Gaur Premanande. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.